My dad brought a realtor to my backyard and told me my sister's twins needed a bigger yard. He said they were listing my house next week and I'd be staying in the garage apartment. My brother-in-law laughed and said, finally, a real house for real family. I smiled and said, got it. That night, I started packing. Then I got a text from a number I didn't recognize that said, don't leave and check the basement. It was from my grandmother. I bought my house 3 years ago at 29 after saving every paycheck from my warehouse job for 6 years. Small 3-bedroom place with a big fenced backyard and a decent neighborhood. Nothing fancy to most people, but I earned every inch of it. My sister Kelsey married a guy named Rich who made decent money but spent it faster than he made it. They had twins last year and suddenly their apartment was too small. My parents decided that was my problem. Dad called me on a Sunday afternoon. Kelsey and Rich need more space. Your house has that big yard. We think the best thing is for you to let them move in and you take the garage apartment out back until you figure something else out. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. You're serious. The twins need room to run around and play. You're single. You don't need all that space. I bought this house with my own money and family needs it more than you do right now. I said no. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, Dad showed up at my front door with a realtor behind him. He walked her around my property like he was the owner giving a showing. The realtor was measuring my yard with a tape while Dad pointed at the garage and told her that's where I'd be living after the sale. Rich was leaning against his car in my driveway with his arms crossed, grinning at me. Kelsey was sitting in the passenger seat already flipping through paint samples on her phone like the house was hers. I came outside and stood on my porch. What is this? Dad handed me a listing agreement. Sign this. We'll sell to Kelsey and Rich at a family discount. Below market. You'll make a little money and everyone wins. I'm not selling my house. Rich stepped forward. Come on, man. You're one guy in a 3-bedroom. My kids don't have space. They have a bedroom in your apartment. It's tiny. Then find a bigger apartment. Dad put his hand on my shoulder and squeezed it. Stop being selfish. Your sister's twins need a bigger yard. We're listing it next week. You'll stay in the garage apartment. End of discussion. Rich laughed and shook his head. Finally. A real house for real family. I looked at all of them standing on my property. The realtor who wouldn't look me in the eye. My father who never once asked me if this was okay. My sister who was already decorating a house she didn't own. My brother-in-law who thought my home was his prize for having kids. I took a breath. Got it. I went back inside. That night, I pulled boxes from the closet and started packing things slowly. Part of me was angry. Most of me was just tired. Around 10 that night, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Don't leave. Check the basement. Grandma. My grandmother had been in a nursing facility for 2 years. She barely used her phone anymore. I called the number. A woman answered. Not Grandma. It was her nurse, Rita. Your grandmother asked me to send that message. She's been wanting to tell you for a while, but she was waiting to see if your father would actually go through with it. She said there's a box behind the water heater in your basement wrapped in a black trash bag. She said you need to find it before you do anything. I went downstairs with a flashlight. Behind the water heater, exactly where Rita described, was a bag. Inside was a small metal box with a combination lock. I tried my grandmother's birthday. It opened. Inside were 3 things. First, the original deed to my house. Second, a notarized gift letter from my grandmother to me dated 4 years ago stating this property was purchased with funds she gifted specifically to me as part of an early inheritance. Third was a letter in my grandmother's handwriting. I gave your father $60,000 to buy this house for you. He kept $35,000 of it for himself and told you the house cost less than it did. The deed is in your name because I made sure of that. He will try to take this house from you someday. Don't let him. The county property records match what's in this box. Every dollar is accounted for. I sat on my basement floor and read that letter 3 times. Dad didn't help me buy this house out of generosity. Grandma gave him the full amount and he took more than half for himself. The next morning, Dad called to confirm the realtor was coming back. I let it go too. Voicemail. When he pulled up, I was sitting on the front steps holding the gift letter. He saw the envelope and stopped at the end of the walkway. Where'd you get that, Grandma? His face drained. Whatever she told you is old business. That money was between me and her. It was a gift to me, notarized, with a paper trail showing you kept $35,000 that was meant for my house. He looked at the realtor. We're done here. The house is still mine.